Hey guys, it's Blitzcry back with more Genshin Impact. I'm sorry it's been a while, but I'm back for one of the most anticipated characters in Genshin Impact, Xiao. Here are some of the findings from day 1, and I hope that this will help you to decide whether you should pull for him or not. As usual, all of the sections in this guide are timestamped, so go ahead and skip to the section that you want to watch. I will start off with an overview of Xiao's strengths and weaknesses. Following that, I will discuss the builds to run for him, artifact and weapon. Then I will discuss the recommended team comps, and finally I will end with a brief recommendation in terms of pulling for Xiao. Let's start with Xiao's strengths. In Xiao, we finally have a more traditional hyper carry. The last time we had a limited hyper carry was in Klee, although Zhongli is now looking like he's in a great spot with all the new buffs implemented. Xiao definitely has the potential for a DPS output similar to Diluc, but has way more problems in terms of unleashing that potential from him. Xiao's biggest problems are team synergy and energy management. Other issues you're gonna have to deal with are his entire team setup is not cheap, and Xiao is slightly more challenging mechanically than Diluc. There are ways in which you can find similarities between Xiao and Noelle and Razor. Noelle is another carry that needs Geo MC as battery. Xiao also has a strong need for animal battery. Razor is a very selfish carry, and so is Xiao. Xiao's abilities don't produce any energies on its own during his ultimate, and the duration of his ultimate will end when he is being swapped out, just like Razor. Unfortunately, Noelle is more flexible for battery, as she can continue to swap out to Geo MC and her ultimate doesn't get interrupted. And Razor, once his ultimate is over, he can get a massive boost of energy due to his talents and orbs, and also the fact that Fischl, one of the best off-field supports in the game, shares the same energy type as Razor. So that was a short overview of what you can expect for Xiao. Now, let's move on to his build. Let's start with the artifact sets. You have two choices of artifact sets. The first one, 2-piece Viridescent Venera and 2-piece Gladiator. The second one is 4-piece Viridescent Venera. This really depends on your team setup. The best personal output from Xiao is 2-piece VV and 2-piece Gladiator, but if you have some of the best elemental supports in the game like Fischl, 4-piece VV may be the best for overall team damage. Next, in terms of stats, the biggest challenge is finding the optimum energy recharge sweet spot. So for the rest of its slots, there is nothing interesting. You simply put the best animal cup and use your best critical headgear. But as for his sense, it's a choice between attack percentage and energy recharge percentage. Personally, this is my approach. First, start with your weapon selection. In terms of damage potential during his ultimate uptime, the weapons are ranked like this. For 5-star, number 1 is Jade Spear, number 2 is Vortex, number 3 is Skyward Spine. For 4-star, number 1 is Black Cliff, number 2 is Deathmatch, number 3 is Favonius, number 4 is Prototype. You can try by using the most powerful weapons first, and then do a rotation with a team that you have, and then if they can contribute enough energy for 100% ultimate uptime, there is no need to bother with ER weapons. Basically, start with as little ER as possible by the following steps. Number 1, test non-ER weapons with attack percentage sense. Number 2, test with non-ER weapons with ER sense. Number 3, test ER weapon with attack percentage sense. That's the lowest threshold for energy recharge. If you have an ER weapon and you still need to use ER sense, then I don't think that character is good enough to be a hyper carry. If you end up needing the ER sense, most of the time Bennett's buff is usually enough to compensate the missing attack. Now that we are done with artifact and weapon, let's move on to the team comp. This is how I approach it. The first character to consider is your animal battery. This is the most important character for Xiao because it solves his biggest issue. Number 1, Sucrose. She has the best energy generation burst. The best weapon is a high refined sacrificial fragments, followed by the Favonius Codex. 2. Jean has the best utility but cannot solve the energy issues when Xiao is at the lowest ER possible. So you have to decide between these two, and personally I would go for Jean, and you have to find the best possible way to bridge the energy problems. Jin's best weapon is the Favonius Sword because Sacrificial Sword has a very small value for being spent twice for an ability that has a short cooldown, but Sacrificial Sword is the next best option. Anyhow, the choice between Sucrose and Jin will impact further decisions down the road. For Sucrose's team, we now need to consider the right healer, and usually this just auto defaults to Bennett because Bennett's buffing potential is unmatched. But if you do not use Bennett, then actually the spot is flexible. If you don't care about getting the highest damage possible from Bennett, then any healer that can fulfill his job as a healer will do. The last spot then comes down to the best off the field energy builder. The best one is Albedo. Albedo is just the best support hero for any selfish characters in the game. The second best is Fischl, meaning for free-to-play teams, this usually defaults to Fischl because Albedo is a limited 5-star. So you have Xiao, Sucrose, Bennett, Fischl. For Jin team, you also ideally use the best characters that can help generate energy off the field, Albedo and Fischl. But if you don't have Albedo, I think the last spot becomes a bit more flexible. You have a choice of Bennett for the attack buff, or you can also go for someone like Beidou because her ultimate is the best accompaniment to Xiao's ultimate. Usually the obvious pairing is Xingqiu and Fischl, but because Xingqiu's ultimate don't activate during Xiao's plunging attack, you have Xingqiu's potential cut down by quite a bit there, whereas Beidou's ultimate will constantly do damage alongside Xiao. So the team is Xiao, Jin, Fischl, Albedo, or Xiao, Jin, Fischl, Beidou, or Xiao, Jin, Fischl or Albedo, Bennett. One last note regarding team building, these are just the ideal synergies for Xiao. But of course, when he is facing Fatui for example, you would have to diversify your elemental options against shields. For that, basically, the way you approach it is you start with Xiao and his battery, then you bring whatever elements you need at the final 2 spots. The better they are at contributing team-wide energy, the better they will be. So don't be afraid of bringing Xiao, Sucrose, Fischl and Barbara for example, or Xiao, Sucrose, Kea and Bennett. However, when you are able to optimize for perfect team synergy, I encourage the approach I have mentioned before, which is to bring Xiao, his battery, best healer and best off the field energy builder. Lastly, these are some tips specific to playing Xiao. Number 1, when he is out of his ultimate, you want to do the low E plunge attack. This should be kept to minimum, like when he has just finished doing his ultimate. Number 2, if you are not at C6, do not use his E at all during his ultimate, save it for building energy at the end of his ultimate. Number 3, the best combo strings is N1CHJP, which stands for normal 1, charge, high, jump, plunge. See, the beauty of Xiao lies in the fact that most other heroes will have to do like charge attack and then jump or dash cancel. But Xiao, when he jumps cancel, he goes into a height high enough to do devastating plunging attack. Take note that this string has quite a lengthy animation commitment, so if you main Xiao, you would need to know when to not end the charge attack into a plunging attack. Lastly, you don't have to commit to the max height of the jump. At about half the max height, you can do the high plunge just fine. This means that you can use the minimum to maximum jump height as a way to pace your attack and avoid enemy attacks only plunging at the right time. I'm going to show you guys a rotation showcase for one of my Xiao's team. Finally, the verdict, pull or not pull. If you love him, he's worth pulling in the sense that you won't get disappointed like you would with Chongli back then. But is he objectively good? Right now, it's too early to tell. He seems to have a high ceiling that can be reached, especially when the right team comp comes along. Like if we have an Anemo Albedo to solve his energy issue, or if they make it so that his E generates energy during his ultimate. Supposing his energy issues are solved, He's easily a great pull, but he's also not cheap because at the very least, you're expected to have C1 Sucrose with Sacrificial Fragments or Favonius Codex, C0 Bennett with Favonius Sword, C6 Visual or C0 Albedo. And the weapon that I would recommend is actually the ER substat weapons. So Skyward Spine for 5-star or Favonius Lens for 4-star, which is on the banner right now. And the most budget being Prototype Star Glitter. Is he fun to play though? I would say yes, I love playing him. But yeah, bear these things in mind when you're going to pull for him. That's all from me. I've been BlazeScribe, and if you find this video useful, please leave a like and do subscribe for more Genshin Impact content. Have a great one guys, bye bye.